Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. Of course, before we get into the video, if you find this useful, helpful, anything like that, consider dropping a like. It really helps me out with these videos, and subscribing if you guys are new and you like this style of content. That would also help me out greatly. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started with the car sitting here behind me, and this is the Grotti Vision. And for like the first time ever, the car that's sitting behind me at the start of one of these videos, I don't actually really recommend. Usually I will talk about the car behind me and be like, yeah, it's pretty good. We're going to talk about it a bit later, but this is not one of those cars. So it is 30% off this week. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But before we get into anything else, we got to talk about how to make some money this week in online. So I just want to say quickly that if you complete the Titan job, you will receive a limited time Merryweather security livery for the DH7 Iron Mule, in case you're interested. Just gonna get it out of the way right off the bat. The weekly challenge this week is to complete 3 FIB finales in the Garment Factory, and for doing that you'll receive a bonus $100,000. And this of course ties into the bonus money of the week. We have double money and double RP on all of the FIB finales. So you can see this on the Darnell Bros app. As you guys can see here when I log in, all of these are double money, and the priority file is like 4 times money because priority means it's doubled. So 600k for that, 300k for this, 300k for that, 300k for that. Not actually bad this week. You can actually make quite a bit of money by doing these. They take roughly 25 to 30 minutes depending on how many times you've done them, how familiar you are. But they are a fairly good way to make money. Now, I've heard from a few people that the priority file is the only file you cannot repeat in a week. However, I do think that these reset. It's either every in-game day or every real life day, I do believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments there, but that's what I've heard from a few different people. But kind of a good way to make money, honestly, this week. So I would consider doing this for sure. And you're going to get that bonus 100 grand if you were to complete 3 of these. So that's pretty cool. Now, in addition to this, the Garment Factory safe is on double money for regular players, and it's on 4 times for GTA Plus. So that's cool, I guess. But double money in the Garment Factory means you're going to be getting about 3 grand roughly every 48 minutes. But make sure to collect your safe every now and again, especially this week because it is going to be filling up twice as fast, obviously, or 4 times as fast if you have GTA Plus, I guess. But the limit on the safe is only 100k. So make sure to clear that every now and again because eventually it will max out and you'll just stop making extra money with it. And that is no fun. This week we also have double money and double RP on drift races, which is kind of cool, and this does tie into one of the discounts this week as well. So if you haven't tried these out, you should give them a shot. They're not terrible. They're pretty fun, honestly. So I'd recommend it. And of course we have a returning adversary mode this week, which is Hunting Pack Remix. These are actually really fun. They're kind of like mini Manhunt if you guys are familiar with the series that I do here on the channel. So they're really fun. I would highly recommend trying them out. All right, and heading straight into the discounts on Maze Bank foreclosures, we have Garment Factory, and it's discounted. It's 30% off, which is not bad. Now, there's literally nothing you can do to it on here, at least on this website. However, there are some upgrades you can actually do within the business itself, but unfortunately, those are not discounted. So the Garment Factory is discounted. I showed you guys the files there. They're normally half the payout that I showed you before. So, you know, they're normally like around 150k for each one. And the fine art file, or whichever one is the priority file of the week, is going to be double money. So roughly 300k. So this does not happen super often where they're worth this much money. The safe is a nice added bonus if you like passive income, although it is not much at all. Overall, I would say if you can get the Garment Factory for 30% off, it is not a terrible thing to buy for sure. You can definitely make your money back, especially this week in particular when everything's doubled. You're going to make your money back pretty quick. As long as you do all of these and collect the safe money and, you know, all that stuff, you'll make your money back with the Garment Factory. Plus, using the Garment Factory, you get a second garage for your Terabyte, where you can also put the master control terminal inside of it, a missile lock-on jammer on it, and some other goodies as well. So that is pretty important and pretty cool stuff that you can do there as well. Overall, I'd say the Garment Factory is probably worth picking up this week. Now for some further discounts this week, we have Drift Tune upgrades for certain vehicles, 30% off this week. Vehicles like the Drift Tampa, the Annis ZR350, the Annis Euros, things like that, they can all get the drift tuning upgrades for them, and they're all 30% off this week when you put the upgrade on the cars in the LS car meet. However, unfortunately, no drift tunable vehicles are actually discounted this week. So let's go ahead and talk about the discounts. Now, fair warning before we get any further into this, there's going to be a lot of do not buys this week. This is honestly really not a good week for vehicles, for like anything. It kind of really sucks. Starting off with the Vision, $1,575,000. I just feel like it's way too much money for what you're actually getting in return, especially performance-wise. But customization-wise, this car is nothing special. It has barely any customization. The performance is not that great. For $1,575,000, I don't think it's that great looking of a car either. Like, sure, it's futuristic looking. Definitely looks like a supercar. But I don't necessarily think it's a good looking car. For all of those reasons, I cannot recommend purchasing the Vision. I do not think it is worth your hard-earned money. Even worse, though, is the Grotti X80 Proto, which is also discounted. There is a laundry list of reasons why this car just blows. I'll start off small. Customization-wise, it really sucks. It's all-wheel drive, but it has pretty awful performance for an all-wheel drive vehicle, and let alone a supercar, and let alone a supercar that is $2,700,000. That is 50 grand short of the Progen Emirates, which will walk circles around this thing on a racetrack. Performance-wise, it is a way better vehicle, and for way less money than this thing at full price, you can get significantly better performance. And even discounted for under $2 million, this thing is still just absolutely awful. But the worst part of all is that it has downforce that changes depending on the direction you are facing on the map and depending on the direction you are turning when facing certain directions on the map. So for an example, this isn't an exact example, but if you were heading north on the map and turned right, you would not have downforce. However, if you were turning left heading north on the map, you would have downforce. It's completely broken. The active arrow is a joke on it. It just sucks. It's ugly. It's not a good vehicle. It is a complete scam for how much money it costs. Do not buy one, please, for the love of God. We also have the Declasse Mamba right below the Grotti X80 Proto. This thing is $696,500, and the Mamba for most people is going to be a pretty awful car. It doesn't have very good handling. Not much in the way of customization at all either. It is, however, quite fast in a straight line for what it is and for how much money it costs. It's based off the Shelby Cobra, which I'm a huge fan of in real life, but I don't really know if it's worth it. Like, if you're a Mamba fan, if you've been waiting for this thing to go on sale for a long time, you should probably buy one this week. I don't think it's going to go on sale for a better price than this anytime soon, and I would definitely say to purchase it for under $700K. I think that's kind of a steal if you like the Mamba. However, if you don't have any sort of attachment or, attraction to the Mamba, you don't want it, do not buy it. It is going to disappoint you. It's probably going to disappoint you even if you do like it. So just take that information and run with it, depending on whatever you want to do. Next up on the Benny's website, we have the Grotti Brioso 300, which is one of the worst vehicles I've ever driven in this entire game. Obviously, not meant to be a rocket ship, not meant to be fast. It does have a Benny's upgrade, which you can see right here. It puts a wide body kit on the vehicle, lowers it, gives you a bunch of customization options. If you want to customize your car, a Fiat 500 that is, this is a good car to purchase. It's relatively cheap for 320 grand. However, the Benny's upgrade is going to cost you a lot of money. So I would probably say to avoid it just simply for that, especially if you want to do the Benny's upgrade. Awful performance, absolutely horrific handling as well. Really, this thing cannot turn. It really can't. Like, it's absolutely brutal. Customization wise, yeah, it's got some cool stuff. That's the only reason to buy the Brioso 300 and make it into the Benny's variant. If you don't make it into the Benny's variant, by the way, not a whole lot in the way of customization. So definitely take that into consideration before you buy this thing as well. I would say to avoid it for most people. Starting off on Southern San Andreas, we got the Karen Sultan RS Classic, discounted this week, 30% off, $939,225 if you have the trade price. If you don't, it's going to be about $1.3 million, which is honestly not a terrible price. I would say actually that is kind of a terrible price. If you can get this thing discounted, it's one of the best tuners DLC cars, so for those tuners races, it's going to enable you to do pretty well in them. Not sure who really does those races, but also luckily it does have quite a lot of customization. It's all-wheel drive, it sounds good, it looks good. It's still a little expensive in my opinion for what you're getting. However, at the end of the day, it is a fairly decent car. So if you're even remotely interested in it, I would definitely say to pick it up. If you're not interested in it though, don't go out of your way to buy it. Not going to be worth it for you, I don't think. Brioso 300 is also for sale on Southern, in case you were wondering. So same goes, don't buy it. It's awful in every way. We also have the Dinka Shavos V6 for $994,000, which is way too much money for a Honda Accord. I don't recommend this thing. It does have a missile lock-on jammer available for it. Customization-wise, it's pretty brutal. The stuff you can do to it in itself is also quite brutal. I just don't recommend it. It's rear wheel drive, which is nice instead of being front, but still it's not worth anywhere close to $994,000. I do not recommend buying this thing. It is not worth it. We also have the Karen Asterope GZ and the Albany Brigham discounted this week. Karen Asterope GZ is one of the most disappointing cars I've ever customized. I thought it was maybe going to have a little bit of customization, but it barely has any. 320 grand is still way too much money for a 2008 Toyota Camry. I don't get it. It's slow. It does have fairly decent handling, but only because it's so slow. Just, yeah, I don't think it's worth it at all, honestly. The Albany Brigham is kind of cool. It's got quite a bit of neat customization. It's the Ghostbusters car, at least you can turn it into that in GTA Online. Some nice customization options for it, for sure. For over $1 million, unless you are a Ghostbusters like super fan, I just can't see how this car is worth anywhere close to either of these price tags. I would recommend not buying it for most people. Within the casino this week, we have the NS0350, which is a drift tunable vehicle. So if you want to get drift tuning, 30% off this week, this is a good vehicle to do it on. The Z0350 is based off the RX-7. It's a really cool car, some great customization. It's from the Tuners DLC. I would recommend trying to win this thing. Within the car mate, we got the Karen Hot Ring Everon available to be won this week. And in order to win it, you are going to have to place top 3 for 4 days in a row. It's a fairly fast and kind of cool novelty truck. If you can get it for free, you might as well. It's honestly kind of cool. Not much in the way of customization, but still definitely worth winning. We have 3 removed vehicles in the car meet here. We got the Dubachi Rapid GT Cabrio on the left for $140,000. I would definitely recommend buying it. We got the Dubachi Masacro in the middle here for $275,000. I would also definitely recommend buying that. And the Bravado, I'm just going to put the name on screen. I'm not even going to say it. Germans are going to correct me. $695,000 for that. I would also recommend buying that. Clean sweep at the car meet. All 3 of these cars are awesome, and I definitely recommend them. That thing sounds really, really good. The Massacre is a nice car to drive. Not much in the way of customization for any of them, but at the end of the day, if you want cool removed cars, all 3 of these are cool and removed. Within Simeon's, we got a lot of cool vehicles. We have the Vapid Retinue here. This thing is quite overpriced, if I do recall. Oh, 638 grand is actually not terrible for it. Customization wise, there's a bit you can do to it. I can't remember if it's got as much as the Mark II variant, but it is a pretty cool looking car. I would say for 600k, if you're into it, you should probably buy it. But if you're not into it, you can definitely avoid it. I also have the Grotti Stinger here, which is a pretty expensive car, and unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to it. $850,000. I just can't see a world in which this car is super worth it unless you, again, really like the Grotti Stinger, and you want one. The only customization option on this thing is to remove the roof. So yeah, not exactly a whole lot that can be done to it, that's for sure. We also have the Enos Stafford in here as well. Pretty cool, like old Rolls Royce. Almost $1.3 million though. I just can't see that being worth it, to be honest. Nothing really special about this car. Not even a lot in the way of customization either. For 1.3, I just can't do it. I would not recommend buying it. We also have the Nagasaki Hot Rod Blazer for 69 grand. If you want it, get it for sure, you know, why not? And of course, we got the Ocelot Lynx, which is a car that has pretty bad understeer. Otherwise, it's an okay vehicle, but it's certainly extremely overpriced for $1,780,000. I can't recommend it, even though I absolutely love the Ocelot Lynx. It is such a cool car to me, but customization wise, there's really not much you can do to it. Performance wise, not that great either. Stock wheels on it look fantastic. Yeah, that's about it for the Lynx. It's such a cool car to me, and I absolutely love it, but for most of you, it is going to be nothing but a disappointment. So I don't really recommend it, unless, again, you're a really big Ocelot Lynx fan and you just have to have one, then, you know, definitely buy it. I don't even know why I bother coming here, but we got the Castigator and the Yosemite 1500 at Luxury Autos. You can buy both of them on the websites. The Castigator is actually a really good SUV, and so is the 1500. It's a really good off-road truck. Buy them on the websites. Don't buy them through luxury autos. There's no point. These are the vehicles available to be stolen in your salvage yard. Of course, none of them are claimable, so we cannot keep any of them, which is just awesome. Glad we all bought this business. It's really great. We get the Albany or Maze for completing the cargo ship robbery. We have the Obey Omni, or Omnis, for completing the McTony robbery, and the Pfister Comet S2 Cabrio for completing the Podium robbery. I hope they give us a claimable one soon. Within the garment factory, I already showed this earlier, but we have the Black Box file, Brute Force, Project Breakaway, and of course the priority is the Fine Art file. So those are the amounts you're going to be getting, and that's the priority file for the week. Alright guys, and the gun van location today is in Sandy Shores, so this is only where it is the day that this is actually coming out, but it's right here in Sandy Shores. And within the gun van, we do have some free weapons and things like that and some discounts. So we have the Alstrickler available. We also have the stun gun, the precision rifle, the heavy rifle, homing launcher, grenade launcher, and knuckle duster. Now the homing launcher and grenade launcher are both going to be free this week. So that's pretty cool. We also do have 30% off the precision rifle, as well as proximity mines, grenades, tear gas, and all armor is also 30% off as well. So that is pretty cool. For your RC Bandito time trial, today we have Cypress Flats. Your Junk Energy time trial is Mirror Park. Now your HSW time trial is going to be Pacific Bluffs to Mount Gordeau, and your regular time trial is of course Fort Zancudo. Anyway guys, there you have it. That has been it for what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video or if you learned something, dislike if you didn't of course, and consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. With that being said, I'll see you all in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.